Hello everybody, welcome to my third attempt at recording this video. No, that's irrelevant to you. The first one didn't turn out well, the second one just didn't record for whatever reason. So, instead of trying to do it for a third time, I'm just going to jump in and get this over with. This is RollerCoaster Tycoon World, or the first beta, the Weekend 1 beta. They've released this to allow us to look at the roller coaster builder, designer, whatever you want to call it. Now they've disabled a whole hell of other features so that we can focus on building the roller coasters, which I think is a little weird. People playing this game want to build roller coasters. As long as we had the ability to build roller coasters, we would have. There was no need to take out the people. I mean, the people are here. You can see them walking around like little ghosts. There. But then my first concern with this, now it's going to sound weird because it's the third time I've been saying all this. So I'm going to just make sure I cover everything. This game's out in a month, or a little over a month, and it doesn't feel like it possibly can be, in all honesty. Before we start, I'm a huge RollerCoaster Tycoon fan. I always have been. I had the very first game when I was a kid. I played every iteration of that game up until today. Literally today, I'm playing this. So I poured decades into this franchise, so I really want this game to succeed. But the realist in me is saying there's no way this game can be out in a month unless they're just withholding features and we get another version of this beta and we say, oh okay, fair enough, there is more to it. But let's focus on graphics. So graphics are nice. It's the best looking RollerCoaster Tycoon game to date, which it should be since it's the newest. Graphics aren't the be all and end all for me in a game like this. They're just a bonus, but they look nice. I mean, you can get the occasional nice shot like that. I think that looks pretty good. Now, before we get into what is causing the, let's call it, backlash on the forums and whatnot about this game, it is not terrible. There's promise here. It just feels not as far along as we would have expected. That's all. First thing we need to look at is the roller coasters themselves. They're the stars of the show. And, last night I built this flying roller coaster. Quite happy with how it turned out, to be honest. It didn't turn out how I wanted it to, but which is probably a negative, but it turned out alright. And in the recording I just did, I built that one. Not to make a good roller coaster, but just to show off what it can do. So let's do that again, I suppose. Now the first thing I want to talk about is how they look. They look good. The supports look good. Supports for me are one of the defining things of a roller coaster. They're part of the structure. They're part of how they appear, how they feel. Old RollerCoaster Tycoon games, the structures, the supports would just go straight up and down. Not realistic at all. This now, it will throw the support out in the direction that it needs to be physically, like if they existed for real. So like on this one they can go straight down, but on this the forces are going to be thrown out to the side, so the supports have to go to the side. It works well. The only problem with the supports is they seem a little buggy. They auto-generate and you can't alter them as far as I can see, and sometimes they auto-generate incorrectly, especially on ones like this where the track is inverted. You know, it's predominantly upside down. The supports should come away from the turn, but like you see, that one has kind of gone into the turn, meaning the train clips through it. Not a big deal. I'm sure that can be ironed out, but in some places you get it like particularly bad, such as here. Where's the really bad one? Here. I'll somehow get a roller coaster train through that little gap there. And there's one where it actually goes through the rail itself. There you go. Now for the most part that's just cosmetic and not a big deal, but the problem with them is these supports do have collision. They are solid things, but it seems to disregard that collision if the train is on the part of the track that support is supporting, if you see what I mean. So the train will not hit this support because as it passes over that bit of track, that's the support for that bit of track, which is all well and good. The problem is if there's a support from a different bit of the track clipping it, it will hit it. Like this bit of track here, the upper section, does look a little weird because I had to alter this bit of track because this support for some reason decided to come off on this side rather than that side how it is now. So from this point of view it came off to the right down there, clipped through this bit of track, and when the train went over this bit of track, hit it, collided with it, and flew off somewhere in that direction. So even though it's mostly cosmetic, it can make or break a roller coaster, which obviously is bad. I will build a third one just to show you how the actual thing works and some of the limitations we do have with it. So the first thing is there's a very distinct lack of options in this beta. You can't change the resolution, you can't change anything. So sorry if this doesn't appear as nice looking as it should be. You might have black bars down the sides or anything like that. There's not much I can do about that. I'm even having to record the game. Not sure if I've said this not already. This is the third time. I remember. I'm having to record the screen rather than the game, which is not how I normally do things. So if things turn out a little weird, then I'm sorry. But yeah. Let's just jump straight into the coasters. The UI's minimalist, but it works well. Let's build an inverted, why not? The first thing you'd notice is create custom. That's what most people are going to do, but there's no preloaded like finished rides you can just put down and look at, which I think is a little weird considering they want us to focus on roller coasters in this beta. I'd have thought they'd have preloaded some pre-made ones that we can just put down, look at them, see what can be achieved, see how they've been achieved, but we haven't got that. So let's just jump in. The first thing you'll notice is you get the station like that. It's not a section of a station like it used to be, and then you build, say, I don't know, 7 of them to make the station. This is just, that's the station, and there it is. I can't find a way of altering it at all, which I think is quite limiting, but we'll have a look at it. But the first thing you'll notice is, let's look at the controls. The mouse wheel does the zoom in and out. But if you look down here, it says hold shift, and then you can do these. So 1, if you hold shift when 1 is selected and rotate the mouse wheel, it rotates the station. If I press 2, it does the elevation. That is the crux of the whole building system. So you select a number, hold shift, roll the mouse wheel, and change whatever aspect you want. Now for things like this, that's fine, but you'll see in a minute where this can fall down. You place that, and it says, right, let's build a track. The track will always be on the elevation of the previous bit of track before it. So wherever I put the mouse, it's going to try and build the track at that elevation. So first thing we need is a chain lift anyway, so select chain lift. Now you see we've got 1, 2, 3 and 4 options now. So 1 is the elevation, so roll the mouse wheel, change the elevation. 2 is the bank of the track itself. 3 is the horizontal angle, and 4 is the vertical angle. So for argument's sake, let's do, I'm not going to build I've been playing these games for years. I know how to build a good roller coaster, but I'm not going to do that now. So let's say, I don't know, how can I do this now? Let's go to there. Looks standard. Now here's my first issue with this. If I want to say do a big banked curve going down to there, you think, well, okay, I'll click there. The Problem is, because it goes on the elevation of the previous bit of track, it doesn't, even though the green circle is on the ground down there where I want the track to be, when I click, it's going to select the elevation of the previous bit of track, but instead of being like up in the air over here, it's going to be what is right to the camera, if that makes sense. So when I click, my mouse is still in the same place, but the track is over here now, because that's where the cursor is in relation to the camera at that elevation. Now it's not a big deal because you can just select it wherever and bring it to here. But now the problem is, it's like, right, I want to bring that down to, let's say, there. But my cursor's still floating above it, so you're kind of guessing where it is now. Let's put a bank on it. You can see the colour underneath the track is white at the minute. If it goes yellow, it means it's not ideal. If it goes red, it means it's a disaster. Basically, it'll probably derail. If it goes black, it just won't place because it's not able to place it. So that looks nice. Now the first thing I would get to is, if I was doing this now, I'd probably put a loop in there. Now loops are a nightmare to build in this. I will just say that first. There is a speciality option where you can select a pre-built bit of track, which I really don't understand because I can't see when they'd ever be useful. Like that loop, well, that loop in this case probably would be about right, but because of every roller coaster is so original and so unique, because you're building it like every degree and every angle, when is a pre-built bit of track going to be useful? Maybe never. You might need that loop to be slightly bigger or slightly smaller or going off at a specific angle. I just can't see when that would be useful. But anyway. Did I run? No. No. Why was it saying friction brakes? I don't know. Anyway, let's now bring that up to here. Maybe do a... Oop, give me that one. So that's saying red at the minute. And that probably is right. But sometimes it feels like it's being overly cautious. I've tried to build things that I know exist in real life and it won't let me. Seriously, let me clip through the... Okay. Come on, let me place. That's an excellent example of something I wanted to show. What I was talking about earlier, where it's going to collide with the track. So I'll just do that for now, because this ride's not going to work anyway. But anyway, let's go through and train. You select the train. If it's greyed out, it means it's not there. So in this case, you can put more cars on the train. You can change the theme. Each one if you want. Colours is pretty self-explanatory. Like select a bit of the track, change the colour. Test, you, as far as I can see, you cannot ride a roller coaster while it's been tested. No idea why. Cannot change the speed of the chain in the lift hill. There is an option to, I will say, it's just greyed out. So, if this is working out it was earlier, it should collide with this one here. No? Okay, so it's very, very inconsistent, and the ride actually worked. Okay. And it passed. Now the problem I found is that you still get the ratings. You now have a safety rating, as well as the others. It always says Ultra Extreme. No idea why. This one usually displays it right, but not always, let's say. So might as well open it. The rest of the things, so that's it. That is the roller coaster designer, basically. Powerful but not very intuitive. The paths are pretty good. Do straight lines like this, curved ones. You know, they work how you'd expect, really. And then there's different sizes as well, which I quite like. So medium, large. The queues have to be straight. That's one thing I'm not too fond of, but we'll roll with it. The scenery is quite well done, to be honest. You can't place everything just wherever you'd like. I can't just place that light there, but I can place it next to the path, or actually on the path itself. That little distinction between on and off is a good thing in my eyes, because on RollerCoaster Tycoon 3 you were limited to it either being on the path or off the path, which was limiting. It applies to most things. So, the usual hold shift and use the numbers down here still applies. The fences are the same, so either on the path or off it. Decor does what you'd expect. You know, you can't really get this wrong, to be honest. But it's just nice to see that it does what it should, basically. And one thing I will say about this is just putting a little bit of scenery down does instantly make a place look better. This one I really can't understand. If you put a fountain down, it puts what I assume is a ghost of a path around it, but I cannot for the life of me figure out how to friggin' do this. I mean, they kind of light up green, but it just, no, I don't know. I really don't know how to do that. The terrain deformation is quite powerful. It does what it should. And the water's quite well done. It works like, well, you've got a bucket there. You throw water in, and if there's a gap, it fills it. If not, it just flows out all over the land. So, the water doesn't look too good, in my opinion. Water is usually a good indication of how good looking a game is, and there's been some pretty good water lately on modern games, and this one's, in my opinion, is just not there. But, like I said, graphics on everything on games like this. And that's it. That's all we've got in this beta. Like I said, they're holding a lot of stuff back. Like I say, a lot of things are greyed out: buildings, flat rides, and then all the actual finance side of it, and the actual running of the park. All we've got pretty much is a roller coaster designer at the minute, which they said we would have. So they can't really attack them for that one. They said that's what we would be getting, and that's what we've got. But I'm interested to see another beta with more features. I want to get into the nuts and bolts of this now. And that's where we are. I don't think it's not terrible. You will be seeing that a lot in the forums if you're reading them. Oh, this game's awful, I want a refund. It's not. It has potential. But I'm just going to be cautiously optimistic, because there are other games coming out soon along this vein. And I can't help but feel like we might have a SimCity, City Skylines thing happening, where SimCity promised a lot of things, came out first and didn't deliver, and then City Skylines came out and was infinitely better and delivered on all the promises that SimCity didn't. We might get that with this. Hopefully not, or hopefully so, whichever way you want to look at it. As long as we get a good park simulating building management game out of this, I don't particularly care who's made it or what it's called. But it'd just be a shame if the RollerCoaster Tycoon name kind of gets dragged through the dirt a little bit if this turns out to be a failure. But yeah, that's all I've really got to show you. So again, if this recording's gone well, this is my third attempt at doing this, so if I've forgotten something, that's probably why. I probably covered it on one of my attempts before and it's not made it into this one. If this hasn't worked, I'll see you in the fourth one. So if there's any more betas of this, which I'm pretty certain there will be at some point, I will cover them, or anything else I find, I will cover them. But that's it really. I'm going to go and see if this has worked out finally. So thanks for watching everybody, and I will catch you next time.